Guys, welcome back to the Caster's Desk here at the Intel Extreme Masters Gamescom. The first series was already stellar. Seeing Bomber being able to bring it back from Delphi there, very, very nice. And we are not done with the TVZ shenanigans.
Yeah, I mean, I was honestly a little disappointed that Delphi didn't have the same sort of amazing defense we saw in game number one. It just sort of petered out near the end. But Bly is at the same fundamental caliber of play, has excellent ejects, really on point with his mini-map watching, plus ridiculously crazy creative play.
Yes.
I mean,
so true.
I mean, I know you've gotten the chance to see some of him in some of the tournaments you've casted recently.
He is a delight. I should put it that way. He plays the game for fun. I mean, obviously he's competitive, but he thoroughly enjoys the game, and when he goes into tournament play, he will look for the most interesting ways to be able to just exploit those little weaknesses. For example, during the World Championship Series Ukraine Nationals, we saw in the very first series he played an interesting little shenanigan tactic on Ohana, where he was able to throw down a lovely proxy hatchery against the Protoss right in his base, and it wasn't spotted for quite a long time.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I've seen him do proxy hatch in the main. I've seen him build a hatch on top of the expansion, cancel, and then build the evolution chamber right on top of it. Yeah. He's done crazy drop play that we've seen against Terran players, doing big Roach, Ling, Baneling drops that have been incredibly effective. So honestly, Bomber is the sort of player who we've seen great in stable, standard situations, but have a little bit of problems on those unorthodox spots.
Yeah, and he might not have been able to. He might not be familiar with the style that Bly brings to StarCraft. And just coming back to what you were saying about placing hatcheries down in like expansion locations to really stifle his opponent's economy, or potentially, there's occasions where he'll put down a hatchery in walls, in potential walls, and then go for Zerglings and then eventually cancel the hatchery and things like that, which is really, really creative use of the mechanics of StarCraft.
His opponent will, of course, be Bomber, who is the GSL Code-S caliber player, plays an incredible standard game, knows all sorts of interesting timing attacks. If there's slight shifts, that's what we saw him do in his winning games against Delphi. Does have some problems when he tries to get overly creative. We see him almost sabotaging himself, in a sense.
No, that's very true, and aptly named Bomber for that kind of scenario, as for now he will be, going into this very, very strongly. I mean, taking out Delphi is a good position to go into, but again, he might not necessarily know the level of difference that there is between the likes of Delphi and the likes of Bly, because they play two completely different brands of Zerg.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, anyone plays a different brand of Zerg from Bly. I mean, Bly is just absolutely insane. But Bomber, I do think, is the sort of player who, if it's a complete standard, straight up, no problem whatsoever kind of game, Bomber will just roll over almost any opponent. The only player who I've ever really seen able to handle Bomber in that sort of position is Nesty. But Bly, obviously, I mean, I don't want to step into the comparison of skill between those two players. But in terms of style, they couldn't be more different.
No, you're entirely right. You're entirely right. And as you can see here, the statistical fact sheet of Mr. Asa Bly, as he is a lovely, lovely gentleman of the age of 23, and he's a pleasure to just talk to in general. He's always really, really upbeat about the game, and really, really upbeat about life in general. And again, he just plays to enjoy the game. So it's really, really nice to see people infused with that passion, not only for the competition, but also enjoying the game itself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, kind of so easy to forget that there's all the creative potentials there when you're just trying so aggressively to win all the time. But I think what's most exciting about Bly, or just Zerg in general, really, is with the range 5 Queen, even though a lot of people felt like, where did that come from? What did it stop? Things seemed good. It now opens up tons and tons of options for the Zerg players. There's so many things that you can do now with the Zerg player, like take fast thirds, even do some crazy Roach Queen pushes at the start of games that are now becoming just really common on the Korean servers and are now even trickling over into the European and North American scene.
And I can't imagine how things are going to end up changing. Say, for example, when Heart of the Swarm comes out, when there's all these different ways in which, say, for example, creep spreading being able to be researched on the Evolution Chamber, if that stays in, then that will create massive potential as well for very, very interesting shenanigans.
And in the top right, it looks like they're going to be playing on the map Entombed Valley. Spawning in the top right is the brand new Ukrainian superstar. It will be Acer's Bly.
And down to the bottom left-hand corner, we do have the winner of our previous series, able to eke out a very nice 2-1 win over the likes of ATN Delphi. He goes by the name of StarTale's Bomber.
God, Bomber is just so good. I mean, a lot of times when you watch players play, you'll see them do the kind of standard stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone always says play standard. Make sure you're doing standard things. You don't want to do too much unorthodox stuff. And while that is kind of a reasonable rule of thumb, it's crazy to see Bomber do everything that the standard players do minutes faster. His pushes are coming out earlier. His 2-2 is up to do aggressive timing pushes that most players would only be able to pull off with no upgrades. I love watching Bomber play.
Yeah, and it's not only the aggression that he's able to put on during those 2-2 timings, it's the fact that he's almost always expanding behind it and never saying, well, you know, I'm not going to just pit all my hopes on this. He has a very, very stable mind for RTS. And where is he going?
Oh, it looks like it's going to be the double racks play. Yeah. This is such a fun play that we're seeing. Be it one of those more standard styles of play from Terrans nowadays, like the Hellion Banshee play or the one barracks early expand play. I mean, hiding the second barracks like this, Bly will spot it. He's going to immediately begin whacking away at that one SCV. No reason not to. But 2 more drones coming out from Bly, being a little bit bold with it. Goes ahead and checks the expansion. It's far too early for an Expo to be down anyways, but the most important thing is to do this SCV count. We see 11 SCVs down right now. That's instantly a sign of, wait a minute, this player isn't just early expanding. So we should see Bly start to scout out a little bit more. And look at this, the second Overlord has already stopped outside the front. He knows something's up.
Really, really nice taking those kind of precautions. He's going to move over to another location just a little bit, just to make sure that there's actually nothing crazy going on over in that direction either. But for now, I mean, considering what he's seen, he might be a little bit thrown off because the initial barracks he's placed is in theory in a position to be able to start a wall off for, say, for example, an expansion play. But after seeing the Marines moving out to the middle map with this drone...
Oh, this is so slick by Bly. He's instantly going to whip back around and try to get an excellent read on what's going up. There he's managing to start to do that initial damage, and here's the drone in the center. It spots the 2 extra SCVs, it spots the 2 extra Marines, and meanwhile back home Bly is having to do his micro of his life to try to keep these drones alive and make sure this bunker doesn't finish. Will he lose a drone? It looks like, oh God, Bly pulls off an incredible little micro exchange there and will not be able to pick off this one SCV. He does actually get one. Only 1 unit lost thus far for Zerg.
Now, this is the scary thing on Entombed Valley. Because of this little nook that is on the low ground, the Marines are able to put themselves in really nice defensive positions so that the bunker is able to eventually get up. They're able to get a little bit more DPS off on those defending units. And for now, with that second bunker on the way, Bly is being forced to go for the Spore Crawlers as well as more Zerging production here to be able to try and bust this.
Oh, and it looks like Bly tried to get a little over greedy and to pick off a single one of those SCVs, but Bly now has the queen up, and ooh, excellent positioning on that spine crawler, able to do a little nice poking on that one SCV, but at this point in time, it's unclear who's going to come out ahead if Bly ends up defending this push.
To be fair, Bomber has controlled his SCV so well in this initial push, saving that from that initial poke from that spine crawler, as the second poke would have ended up killing it off instantaneously. But look how low this hatchery is getting so quickly.
Oh no, it looks like Bly only has a few more seconds to make the key decision. Does he want to keep that hatch alive? And it looks like no, just cannot afford to get into a good enough position. And there it looks like Bly does target down. Immediately picking off some of those SCVs. And this is kind of an awkward position for the Zerg player right now. You have these spines that are not really going to be alive much longer.
Yeah, we'll be able to take those bunkers out. Salvage though, so nicely done there by Bomber to be able to keep him in as good an economical position as possible. For now, Bly being forced to just re-establish this base, and he's already been put behind a little bit because of this. He's getting his gas up at a slightly odder timing that we would have seen off the back of, because of the aggression, because he just had to spend. He had to spend, otherwise he would have been in a bit of a, you know, a bad spot.
I think it's something that's kind of depressing about this position Zerg's in. Oftentimes, if you kill off a lot of Hellions that have picked off drones, you know you're not going to be under aggression anymore.
Yeah.
If you kill off the Banshees that have killed off a lot of drones, you know you're not going to be under aggression for a while. But now with this bunker push done, Bomber can very easily do a follow-up push.
Yeah.
he can very easily deny this third base, in other words, which is kind of where you want to be putting your head if you're a Zerg who's that far behind.
Yeah, you're entirely correct. And from that, as the Zerg, that ends up costing you valuable thinking time and potential lava.
Yeah.
Like, is there a second push coming? I've really got to...
You know, that's actually an interesting point you bring up, the whole idea of thinking time. Ordinarily, a player wants to try to be so well practiced that he just says, yeah, I know what the right response is here.
Yeah.
All I have to focus on is execution. But if you are in an uncomfortable position, which is normally what Bly does to his opponents, then you end up spending a little bit of extra energy thinking, I'd take that second gas down, maybe yes, maybe no, and that is when the huge flubs happen. It looks like Bomber, though, may have wasted a little bit of money being overly defensive, and this could be how Bly ends up pulling back, but man, Bly needs to get that rock knocked down fast if he wants to hold off this Marine push.
Yeah, very, very much so. That is so important at this point. And again, you know, coming back to that thinking time point, it's... For Terrans in this matchup, I feel that, and it's something I advocate a lot, you need to break the flow of a Zerg. If the Zerg is in the rhythm of spreading creep, getting my lava injects, you know, just macroing up like a beast, then you need to break that with the aggression. And Bomber has already semi-broken the flow of Bly with that little poke early on. And now Bly is playing a little bit more of an unconventional game as he would have done going into this first series.
Yeah, I mean, Bly is, at the very least, very comfortable in situations like this, but it's a hard position to play off correctly. This is a nicely timed scan by Bomber. He plants the scan down right when there would be extra geysers going down. That is an instant indication to Bomber that there is a third base going up. Once we see that Overlord get popped, now Bomber just going to do the usual scout. Ordinarily, you'd go into the main if you saw that there were the two gas geysers there, but here, an easy choice going straight to that third base since he saw no gas at the natural.
Yep, and for now we have Bly actually breaking down the rocks here at the fourth location a little bit quicker than you would normally see. Yeah. Now, I like this because sometimes if Terran ends up deciding to break the opposite side rocks and positioning siege tanks up there and trying to just establish a position in front of your chokes, it can be really difficult to actually break because of those rocks being there, and it's so hard to actually push up on siege tanks if Bomber wants to choose to do something like that.
So Bomber darted forward those Marines. Bly saw it and instantly pulled everything back. Instantly made another round of Zerglings. Bomber never had an attack plan in the first place. Just took his third base. Pretty dirty little move there by Bomber.
But fantastic at the same time, Day9.
Oh, what happened in Bomber's main? It looks like he wanted to build two depots and told all his SCVs to stop. Can I just say that makes me feel wonderful? Because I've totally done that. I've totally been like
everyone
spam clicking, trying to be all cool. Look at my APM. Look at how high it is up here in this tab.
Yeah.
And amazingly, Bly's is at 0 when I open this tab up. But then the fact that he just told everything to stop, that warms my heart.
Oh, yeah, it's happened to every StarCraft. I can't think of a single person that hasn't happened to in the entire time. I've been watching streams and, you know, my friends and things like that. So for now, Bly, he does have centrifugal hooks on the way as well as 1-1 to be able to upgrade those melee units as well as those all-important Banelings. And going up against Bomber here, he's getting a good amount of creep spread off. And again, the middle ground of Entombed Valley works a lot like Ohana. All one level, it's very easy to start getting that going, and it provides you with great defensive capabilities.
Some nice little moves that we're seeing Bly do as a follow-up to this creep spread in the middle, just checking to make sure that these expansions aren't up in any of the corners. He has Zerglings spreading out everywhere, which is an easy thing to forget about, where you just figure your opponent's going to be really standard. And look at this, the luckiest Zergling in the whole world. That Zergling should buy a lottery ticket. Oh my God, spots the drop as it's coming in. But Bomber, he's not the sort of player who's doing these risky drops, just hoping attacks will work. He's doing an attack where he knows he's not really ever going to be up against a threat. Notice that there's not even the Infestors done yet, so very safe timing for Bomber to have done this.
Yeah, and not only that, but he's actually dropped it in a location where he's assuming, well, you know, maybe he felt a little bit behind, so maybe he's gone for a quick fourth, but actually not going for it. The Zergling's going to come in here. Oh, nice connection with one of those Banelings, able to shut that aggression down instantaneously.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice pickup for Bly. I mean, honestly, the fact that the creep spread got denied so hard at that top side is just super brutal to deal with as Zerg. It's becoming the most important necessity for Zerg players, but I mean, Bly, having killed off those extra Marines, now has the comfort of being able to restart the creep spread right away, and surprisingly passive play out of Bomber. And actually, upgrades are slightly ahead from Bly. He needs to start those 2-2 right away to maintain the lead.
And for now, we have Bly going for that Hive as well as Burrow Tech. So, I mean, Bly is well known for his lovely, lovely Hive play, and it can work wonders for him. I even see Bly sometimes, let's say, when we have Tal'Darim Altar Impulse, for example, but this is admittedly because of the way in which Tal'Darim Altar works, but just going up to Hive on like 2 base, whilst transitioning to a 3rd, which is crazy, but he makes it work.
Yeah, I mean, that sort of fast Hive tech, especially what we're seeing right here to get the Ultralisk up. Got to be very careful with how many Infestors you get up. Almost always around 6 is as many as you can afford. And with this push coming up, we're seeing yet again Bly getting almost what he needs up in time, but no, it looks like huge fungals land. But Bomber has just a few too many units, swarms around, obliterates the rest of those Infestors.
Yeah,
one huge fungal could happen. Nope, not going to land down.
No. Way too many Marines to be able to clean that up. Very well done there by Bomber. He did lose quite a few Infestors, as you rightly pointed out. So that is so expensive for Bly, considering he's on this limited amount of bases and not really in his comfort zone after what happened very early on. So he's morphing in Banelings. You're going to try and get those fungals as well as Baneling connections off on it. But again, we saw in game number 2 against Delphi, Bomber is very good at spreading dead Marines.
Yeah, and I mean, Bomber again doing this same trick that we saw him do against Delphi. He just pulls back after he's done some damage. He picked off the Infestors, and then he pulls back. You know your opponent's likely to make Banelings. That's a bunch of wasted gas that ain't going to be Ultras. Bomber now going for the 4th, but somehow Bly, in the position where you should be defending his Zerg, finds a window to do an attack, and it looks like there's the spread forward, and we see a couple of beach balls thrown down to try to spot it to where those tanks are. Bly does a nice pullback, but not before landing 2 sweet little fungals and picking off a pack of Marines.
Yep, not too bad at all there. Does force the repair on that command center there, and still trying to go for the aggression, but there's so many Marines here. You have to be very careful. And Bomber just poking forwards with a few Marines, testing the waters and trying to lure his opponent back so he can able to stim in and try and push forwards. And as well as that, negating the potential ability of fungal growth with just those little pokes forward. If he manages to get 1 Infestor with those 5 Marines, it's an instant victory.
I mean, brilliant dancing by both players down at that bottom expansion. Bly clearly behind by looking at the supply counts, but his money is through the roof. Bly is just not quite macroing as well as he needs to be. He's starting to construct his Spire, burns some of that money by planting down 2 expansions, kind of willy-nilly, but right now what Bly needs to be building is Zerglings. In the unit count, we see he has 100 drones. He's at 20 larvae out on the screen right now, and he desperately needs something to deal with this huge force. He's just not going to have enough.
Yeah, he's trying to get the Spire up as well as some Ultralisks, +3, +2 on the way now, along with that chitinous plating. But again, Bomber is in a position where he's on his way with the 3-3, he's pushing forwards. A fungal does land on a few Marines, catches them, but again, Bomber always pulling back at the right times to be able to just save those extra few Marines.
And we see that there is a burrowed Infestor starting to move forward. It does get some good scouting as to what's up. Burrowed Infestors move extremely quickly. See the Ultras starting to stockpile up, and there's another push forward attempt by Bly to try to take out some of these poaching units, but with 100 drones on the map, now 96, Bly just does not quite have the funds that he needs to be able to deflect these attacks. He's starting to move forward and pick off some of these poaching forces from Bomber, but Bomber's in too well of an entrenched position, continuing to pick off these hatches. We see a nice transfuse, trying to keep it alive, but I mean, Bomber's just picking it down, plain and simple.
He is indeed, and he's in a bit of a paradoxical situation here. He needs to keep this base alive to have the income to be able to deal with Bomber, but does he have the income to be able to completely defend it in the first place is the question. So he's constantly doing a good job here of throwing down infested Terrans in between these siege tanks, and actually this Infestor has 11 kills right now. So he's trying to deal with it, but it's still very difficult, especially with these Marauders poking in.
Oh, and we see Bly trying to establish a flank. Does he just opt to sack the expansion? He does, keeping up the expansion at the right. Again, 8 geysers. That's the number that Bly has been going for this entire game. As long as he maintains 8, he's feeling quite comfortable, and he's sort of letting Bomber come in, folding this defensive position. And not only does this help cut off Bomber's reinforcements, but it also makes Bly's attack at the south position more possible.
Oh, look at this fantastic spread Bomber has going down in. It's got such depth to the point where if Bly pushes forward, he's always going to be taking so much damage, and he is going to go for the push as the Ultralisks come in, leading the charge here with the Zerglings. Bailing's caught in the back a little bit here, trying to connect with those Marines. A few lovely fungals on a few Marines here, and actually he's going to be able to kill off a lot of this push.
Bly managing to get at just the right angle after an extremely tense series of exchanges, and Bly's money that we've been saying has been a fault all game long. He's been unable to macro properly, is now going to be a sudden blessing. With that mass bank, Bly can now ramp up the maximum pressure. He can expand not once but twice. It looks like he has 2 macro hatches back in his main base, and by his third. I mean, wait, does he actually have 3? Nope, he just does have 2. 3-3 now finishing up for the Zerg player. Bomber, is he still at 2-2? No, he has 3-3. Level 2 attack coming up for the tanks. I mean, Bly's looking in a nice position, but still, he needs to have some capitalization on it.
Yeah, this game is still really quite up in the air, whereas Bomber was able to establish himself a really, really nice foothold early on. Bly's been in contention to bring this back very nicely. With the composition he has out right now, there's no reason that he couldn't continue this really, really nice performance here. And did he get the Great Aspire up as well? Yes, he did. So he could quite easily transition it into those very, very scary Broodlords.
44 Marines out on the map. Fairly low for a late-game Terran army. Bly is being so careful with these engagements. Doesn't look like we see any Broodlords out on the map right now. It is just Corruptors. Bly now taking more expansions. Bomber sees it, knows exactly what's up, but Bomber is still in a tough spot because the creep spread has been so consistent by Bly that Bomber has to continually skirt around the edges, siege up these tanks beforehand, and this is allowing Bly to set up these nice sort of positions. This could be a counterattack, but more likely than not, it's going to be some sort of repositioning. Oh, Acer Bly is going to be going for the counterattack to free up food for those Broodlords as well.
That's a very, very nice move there. No defense to be able to deal with this. So many Zerglings flooding in, but at the same time, we have a push up to this base here at the top corner. Ultralisk trying to clean that up along with Fungal Growth, and indeed they will do for now. And meanwhile, those Zerglings doing so much damage in the natural of Bomber.
And where are Bomber's rally points? Bomber's actually been maxed, has to pull back some of his forces from the front. There's no units popping out of those production facilities, and it looks like yet again Bly is going to be sacrificing some expansions, but that's an exchange that you want to make as Bly right now, as he is currently rebuilding those Broodlords. Still, oh my gosh, is he going to kill off this orbital command? Oh no, Bomber loses an orbital command, just being pulled in too many places at once, and the burrow is in the main, and it looks like Bomber can't even manage to have enough scans to clean everything up.
The supply difference is negligible completely here, as for now, Bomber's still going for the aggression, trying to kill off a base, and all the Broodlords,
they're starting to step into mid-map.
This is going to be a bit crazy here, as those siege tanks really need to retreat very, very fast. They don't have any Marine contingent to be able to bolster them here. So right now, Bomber looking to go for the pursuit, and he even lands the Fungal Growth on the few Vikings that are present.
And another Fungal Growth picking up every single one of those 4 Corruptors in production. And we see Bomber was building a largely anti-Ultralisk army, and here is the big drop play. What a move by Bomber. Advancing up to the top side, he is going to run headlong into some Spore Crawlers, but with this huge of an unload, this is going to pull back every single one of the forces from Bly.
Oh, he's trying to get the damage done where he can do. He's going to shut down potentially one of the last remaining bases here for Bly in terms of mining. And right now the Ultralisk coming back to try and clean this up as well. But he picks up once again half of the army, and he's going to be able to drop in the main and kill off some of the tech.
Oh, where are the Corruptors? They're still cross-map, hanging out with those Broodlords. 4 do manage to arrive to the scene, but Bly loses 2 full energy infestors. There, the medevacs are falling down right now, and we see Bly able to pick off this attack, and suddenly the Broodlords are at the front gates.
Looking to siege up the bastion here of Bomber.
Where's the reinforcements, Kalaris? I mean, does he desert? I mean, this is a super dangerous spot for a bunch of Broodlords to be out in the open with.
And he knows they're there now. They've been revealed by those medevacs. The Ultralisks have reinforced, so they're going to be able to help out quite a lot. We have Thors in production now, as well as +3 ship weapons coming down here for Bomber to be able to try and stifle this push forward. But there's so many Corruptors, and the Fungal catches some of those Vikings.
And that is an enormous win right there for Bly, who's been behind for most of the game, has had a quite long turnaround and has just had the most nail-biting unit control I've seen from a Zerg in a long time. These Broodlords have made the most incredible journey throughout the map for the longest time, now finally pulling their way down south, and Bly still needs to get up more drones, more bases, and Bomber is running the risk of losing his only mining expansions.
Oh, Day 9, I don't know if it's the air conditioning, but I've just got some major nerd chills at the start of this series. This is a fantastic game to kick things off here. Bomber looking to go for more aggression, trying to shut down these bases here, but still there's so many Ultralisk Corruptors and Broodlords barreling down on the bases of Bomber, and with this base going down, he's not going to have much income himself.
And we see Bly did manage to reestablish control of his third, but only briefly. Bomber now taking that out as well. It looks like some spine crawlers are being constructed, but oh, the Viking count has started to climb up very high, and it looks like Bly is not going to wait any longer. He's darting forward with everything he has. The planetary fortress does fall. Bomber now doesn't have any mining expansion and has just lost the majority of his Vikings, and Bly still has income. It looks like Bomber's doing an excellent job cleaning up all these locations, but Bly has just performed a brilliant series of late-game plays as Zerg.
Really, really has. Now, I have to ask, I mean, losing those Vikings, yes, he still has 7 on the map, but they may end up getting shut down by Fungals and Corruptors pretty easily. Does he have enough Marines to eventually try and bust this Broodlord line? Or is it going to rely on some kind of very, very nice engagement here for Bomber? What do you think?
I mean, right now, Bomber is in an excellent position. It's more Bly I'm worried about. If Bly doesn't recoup his forces together, he's going to be in a world of hurt. It looks like some of these skirting forces from Bomber could be fungled very easily right now, but Bomber manages to spot the Infestor, pick it off. Bly needs to pull back, needs to get some sort of income running. He needs to save his main base.
I've just noticed there's no medevacs on the map, so every stim is killing these Marines very quickly. And oh, the fungal! Oh my god! Ripping those Marines apart. Look how many Corruptors take out those Vikings so very quickly. But the Thor's trying to go to town on those, and the Marines coming in from the back once again, trying to pincer them in, but they're slowly falling down.
There is just a ridiculous amount of units dying in mid-map, but the problem is Bly is losing his main base. We see the Thor will manage to barely escape with his life, but Bly brilliantly knowing that the one key to staying alive in this game is keeping the expansion lead. We see the Ultralisk Cavern trying to be rebuilt at the south side. Bly needs to get some Zerglings in production. Bomber is still picking off the main. The Greater Spire falls, and now with the Hive starting to fall down as well, Bly is going to run the risk of losing his ability to make those Greater Spire units, and there.
That's a brutal loss. Brutal loss indeed. Bly now going for that standard mid-game, mid-map macro hatchery here, as that will help him get a few more lava up whilst he's trying to still re-establish his economy. And Bomber, though, he still has quite a nice economy as well. And once he gets this 5th base up and running up to the north here, saturated, he's going to be able to still ramp up that production.
I mean, this is just a psychotic game that we're watching right now. A single Zergling down in the bottom right is going to be picking off that expansion. Bly moves with the rest of his forces, which is really just a Corruptor Infestor force. He has 4 Broodlords. He's able to make Ultralisks now. He's rebuilding his layer tech. Bomber now moving forward with pretty much everything he has to try to defend this, but the Marines caught off guard, and again, no medevacs out on the map. Right now, the Broodlords are caught out of position, and Bomber manages to get some enormous volleys off, picking off the last remaining ones of them. The Ultras are now also cleaning up those remaining units, and suddenly, Bly is looking inches from death.
Oh yeah, with those Broodlords going down, now the Corruptors really don't have too much job other than to kill Vikings, but the Vikings have already done what they need to do. So he's got a lot of, and look at that, he's just going to land them and use them in their assault mode because he knows all the Broodlords are gone. Fantastic decision making there by Bomber.
Bly needs to begin making Zerglings. I don't know why his macro is just still slipping at this late stage in the game. The players are just throwing down expansions everywhere. There's no sense to it. They just have the money to expand, and Bomber has the command centers to really give away. He's trying his hardest to get some sort of income up, and I just desperately need these larvae to be spent. Kalaris, it wounds me to see this continuing to climb.
I can't say I've ever seen as odd a game on Entombed Valley in TVZ as this. This is just remarkable. The way in which they're all just declaiming expansions. Looks like Bomber finding that standard mid-macro hatch there and trying to kill that off. Very nicely done.
Yeah, the good old mid-map hatchery. Helping to keep that macro going strong, but there needs to be more Zerglings. That is the one missing piece to Bly's army. He has the ability to get them, he just has neglected getting them. And yet again, we see some small skirting bits of Zerglings rejoining Ultros, now popping out in the middle of the map. Bly's positioning has been nothing short of amazing all game long, now moving out in an incredible angle.
Oh, yes, indeed. He's going to try and roll through this as best he can do. There's not that many Marines to be able to continue establishing a foothold here. And right now, the Ultralisk is doing so much damage, taking everything out there by Bomber, and he is looking to put on the hurt once more.
And there it looks like another force, but Bly realizes, hey, I can take that out, and especially with these Corruptors, they're being a blessing in these series. Bly, why have you not spent that larva? There's 19 larva that are out on the map right now, up to 25 larva, and Bly has plenty of funds to be able to spend it. I just think that is this hatchery not hotkeyed? No, he hasn't hotkeyed his main hive.
It's important to note as well, though, that when the hive went down, he was able to throw down the extra Ultralisk cavern down to the bottom right-hand corner, so he has been able to continue to produce Ultralisks. But that, other than the spawning pool and the spires, really the only tech choices he has open to him. But, I mean, that's all he needs right now, of course. He's going to be able to try and continue to poke at Bomber, but still the income tab heavily favoring Bomber here.
Oh, yeah, I mean, Bomber just with the ability to mule, he doesn't need that many SCVs on the map right now. Bly is actually desperately using all these expansions just to try to fund. Oh no, but Bomber is about to have a huge plummet to his economy as this completely undefended expansion has been spotted.
Those Zerglings going to be able to rip apart those SCVs, rightly said there. As for now, he still has 26 more Zerglings in production here, but again, Bomber is not letting his macro slip. He's still always got those 11 Marines in production, more Vikings coming out, and as well as some Marauders, so he's still trying to take precautions against that potential Broodlord transition if it comes, and he's actually going to drop right next to the Greater Spire. He could try and snipe it out if he so desires whilst it's morphing in, but the boss is there to be able to try and deny.
Oh, and it looks like Bomber gets caught completely off guard, loads up at the worst possible time, losing everything. But Bomber, again, doing another multi-pronged drop, taking off all these top expansions. Bly manages to deflect that expansion at the left side, but such an insane game. Now approaching the 36-minute mark, Bombers does have one medevac that gets picked off. And there it looks like Bly will be able to clean this up a little bit.
Will do indeed. For now, Bomber just moving through the middle of the map, but that's a very, very scary Ultralisk Zergling army here. But the problem is for Bly is he doesn't know how far back the army spreads, and also actually reinforcing with another very, very nice bio contingent there.
Oh,
so, nice stuff.
Bly does have the advantage of having all these spine crawlers up. Bomber decides to engage it right away. An excellent fungal does some maximizing damage, but Bomber's going for the expansion has pretty much already been mined out.
Once again, though, Bomber only has 3 medevacs out on the field, most of which we're trying to go for drop potential. And there's still 1 medevac in the main trying to drop here, trying to kill off the tech structures, the Bailing Nest, as well as the Infestation Pit. Meanwhile, a push down to the bottom right-hand corner here to be able to try and take out the very important key structures of the Ultralisk Cavern and the potential Hive and Greater Spire, but the reinforcements move back.
And there's the stim, and it looks like the Banelings are going to be able to clean up everything with ease. Actually, some Broodlings were easily able to pick that off as there is just, again, no medevacs out on the map, and in this crazy back-and-forth game, is this the finishing blow where he cleans up these last expansions up in the main base? Bomber's killing off structures that have already been reconstructed down on the bottom right. Bly still hasn't hotkeyed that one Expo.
It could indeed be a finishing blow. He's going to pull back for now. He's playing this very cautiously. He still doesn't know how many bases his opponent is really mining off of. As well, actually, he should do, considering all the other bases are pretty much covered, other than this one over to the middle here. So he's actually going to try and push at that position now, I think.
What a game. What does Bomber need to do at this point? I mean, he needs to keep this expansion up, but it looks like he's favoring the tank count at this point, but that's going to only help for defense. Bomber needs to have a more mobile army because right now he has absolutely no answer. SCVs get decimated. The expansion falls in a matter of seconds, and suddenly the superior economy from Bomber is going to plummet down to 0.
Bomber looking to do some aggression here. He did stem up to try and push over to the bases of his opponent over to the right, but actually retreating now, realizing he needs to sort of go on a defensive in essence, but realistically, he could never win here with a defensive play, unless his opponent's completely starved. But in theory, I would say that Bly has some good map control here once he shuts down this last draw.
Yeah, this is going to be the big end for Bomber's aggression. All that Bly needs to do, and 4 Broodlords coming out of nowhere. 5 more Infestors being constructed. Did Bly actually do this?
I cannot believe it. In this 40-minute game, considering the starting point, I thought this was going to be over a little bit quicker than the... This is ridiculous. Bly, he's a crazy guy, and he's able to bring out some very, very interesting shenanigans in early game, but when it goes into a macro game and decision-making, apparently he's pretty good there as well.
I mean, the army control from Bly has been stunning all game long. Very, very, very carefully selecting every single engagement. Incredible decision-making, and there is the final collection of units. Vikings spread out magnificently, but how many units does Bomber have? There are so many units in a perfect position. Bly has the Infestors out of position and did not choose the correct engagement after all that talking. I mean, looking at the army supply tabs, I mean, the army is enormous from Bomber. Why does it look like Bly was ahead? Well, there's only 8 supplying workers for Bomber. All the rest is mules. I mean, Bly had just a clear leading position until he walked right into that trap.
Yeah, that wasn't the most amazing engagement there for Bly. Oh, right now, Bomber trying to seize the opportunity, pushing forwards here. Does have a few fungal goats hitting him there, 1 or 2, but for now, Bly just has nothing. He has like 50 Where are the 50 Zerglings? There's 50 Zerglings on the map somewhere, but they're just nowhere to be seen right now.
And it looks like for the second time this game, Bly will lose a hive. Bly now trying to get up the last few bits of units that he can. The Zerglings pop out. Are they going to be up in time? Perhaps just barely. It looks like Bly has opted to sacrifice it, and he is going to try to kill off this last mining expansion of Bomber.
Oh, he is indeed, and that is brutal. Loses the hive, loses all of that income. There is another Ultralist Cavern on the way, but that's going to get killed off in just a bit, probably, by Bomber. Meanwhile, we have a few Zerglings trying to put on some aggression at the last mining bases here for Bomber, but having to burrow to be able to fend off against those. And the Infestors also coming along to try and put on some aggression as well. And finally, Bly finds some of those Zerglings down in the bottom right-hand corner of the map.
And it looks like they're still not going to be quite enough to hold off this push. Bly trying to do an assault with some infested Terrans, and it looks like it's somewhat successful. There is another landed orbital command. This game is still not done. The top expansion is really it for Bly, and he's now decided to begin to remorphing that to a layer. Oh my gosh, Bomber now moving up with a medevac, but it looks like Bly will be in good condition to spot it in advance. Bomber is going to be drilling everything up to this top right side. This is a good potential position for Bly, but Bly is going to be engaging these Marines at a very cost-ineffective time, and now it's all going to be down to splitting for Bomber, and oh, Bly was rallied away from those units. The expansions get completely decimated, and Bomber, again, has nothing to mine.
There's been so many swings back and forth in this game. Bomber right now is doing so much damage to the economy of Bly here at this last base. And with that gone, how many units does he have left? There's still 25 Zerglings and 6 Infestors on the map to deal with 4 Marauders and 26 Marines. But that is a very, very strong army if Bomber is able to split, is able to really get those good like stutter step engagements back off. So Bly is in a very, very scary spot.
Looks like, I mean, it's going to all come down to energy. Is the energy of the medevacs enough to take out the energy of the Infestors?
It really is. You're so right. I mean, Bly has very little energy left. He's used some Infested Terrans there, and Bomber just walks away. Oh, Infested Terrans? I'll just buy for now. It's all good.
Brilliant choice by Bomber just to pull back there.
Yeah.
But now it looks like the orbital commands are slowly burning down. There's no workers on the map.
I mean, what does either player have to do? It literally, as you rightly said, is just a matter of energy. Both players are just going to sit around. Oh, no. Oh, 3 drones. Oh, he's found them.
He's found them. He found those 3 drones.
Yep.
I can't believe this game is real. And there's the land. Bomber has to land, has to repair. Picks off a little bit of the last orbital command. And there's Bomber. He's not repairing. Killaris, he is not repairing this orbital command. There he is.
That would have got a little bit tricky. How many orbital commands does he have out of curiosity? That is 3, 4?
Well, yeah, I'm seeing 3 orbital commands on the map right now, at least 3 hotkeyed orbital commands. Oh, if he walks into a scan trap, that would be game ending. But no, there's the rest. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is a really tense position. Does he have any energy on any? He does. There's the scan. He can scan right now. This is going to be devastating if he spots it.
What is he going to do?
Does he see it? Does he know?
Is he going to use Infested Terrans? Is he going to fungal? I mean, this is... I guess he's going to use the Infested Terrans. If he pops up and uses the fungal, yeah, he might kill off some SCVs, but... this is too weird. This is too strange, Day 9.
This hurts my heart, Killaris. We see a Marine did manage to spot 2 drones. Oh, God. Oh, God. If Bomber just sees the ripple, he sees these... And there is the spray.
And does Bomber see it? He does! He reacts. He's going to kill off 1 or 2 mules, but he's probably not going to get much more than that. Right now, how much out of this bio is going to kill off? Nothing. Nothing at all. So, Bomber still in a good position, and he saves his economy. for now.
Now, Bly is continuing to rebuild drones. He has 2 hatcheries on the map. He has some overlords peppered around. There needs, I guess right now, the only play you have as Bly is to get up a layer and begin churning out as many infestors as possible. But Bly's been a little bit bold with these infestors, and now with this missile turret being constructed, I mean, Bly could easily walk right into a trap. There's the hatchery going down. There's just the right force that Bly needs. Oh no, oh, there's the target fire. Takes down that one single spine crow.
Whoa, that was so ridiculously close there, Bomber, with a fantastic little pickup to be able to save those units. And every unit is so valuable here. It cannot be accentuated enough how important it is to keep everyone alive. And right now, wasn't able to get the hatchery kill, but it was able to really, really annoy his opponent for now.
Oh gosh, all the infestors are out of position. Does Zerg see? But there's this huge force coming. There's burrowed banelings leading the fray, though.
He sees one of the infestors, the missile turret, and one of the marauders is actually able to clean up one of the infestors. The infested Terran's going to be able to try and clean this up. Another infested dies, so 1 marauder for 2 infestors. A massive, great trade there. But at the same time, he does get the missile turret, and he's going to be able to get the orbital command, I think.
Oh, he gets the orbital command. Bly pulling a miracle, and Bly needs to keep his eyes open. If he can pick off this pack with these burrowed banelings, that's going to be it. And how did that happen?
Right now we have an income of 0 to 700 minerals. GG though. That's going to do it for game 1. Oh my God.
What a game.
That was ridiculous. Bomber not showing any of it. It's like casual, standard. It's fine. Just drinking his Red Bull. It's good stuff, man.
I mean,
wow.